Hey everyone, today is going to be a different video than normal. I'm going to be talking about something that I've been planning on doing for a while now and I'm finally sticking to. I am no longer going to be participating in the content creator early capture sessions for new Siege content. If you guys have been subbed for a while, you'll know that I've had early capture footage for the new seasons ever since Burnt Horizon, which was the first event that I was invited to. That will be changing with the next season of Siege, which is North Star. There's going to be quite a few reasons why, which I'll go over now. But before we do that, I just want to stress that this is my own choice. Don't go to other creators and harass them into doing what I'm doing. This is ultimately my choice, and if other creators want to continue to be a part of it, then that's their prerogative. The first topic we're going to touch on is the time frame. For these early capture sessions, the time frame is very, very stressful. The general time frame we have to work with is that the server will only be open for 2 or 3 days, meaning any footage we want to capture has to be done in that 2 to 3 days range. This can be really tough to coordinate with a bunch of people since we have different schedules and different time zones. Not to mention that once one lobby is filled, very rarely will you see a second lobby be filled. So if you miss out on the one recording group for the night, then you are just shit out of luck. This can compound into more shitty situations down the line. Because as a creator, we obviously want to show the new stuff like the new operator. What we generally do is take turns going in a line and then repeat. So if you go the new operator and then let's say you die early or maybe you just don't get any good footage with them, you now have to wait 5 full rounds before you can get another go with them. Now obviously as a group, we try to be nice, and if we know someone has less footage than someone else, we'll let them go instead. But when all 10 people in the lobby need the same footage in such a small time frame, it can lead to a lot of stress if you're not getting what you need. Because chances are if one person's struggling to get footage, then we probably all are. So no one gets any extra turns. Now I'm sure a lot of you are wondering why I've been mentioning stress so much. We are playing games and it's supposed to be, having fun, so why is it so stressful? The stress primarily comes from the fear of not being invited in the future. There have been a few creators that got invited to events and then they didn't make a video because either they didn't get enough footage or they just didn't have the time. And then after that, they never got invited again. So obviously if you want to be invited again, you have to make a video. But if you aren't getting any good footage, then either you have to lower your standards and put out a shitty video just to have one, or you have to risk not posting at all. Obviously there are some exceptions to this rule, some creators will be invited no matter what, but for the most part, majority of us have to put out a video or else we risk not being invited. I just want to be clear, I'm not blaming UB as a whole for this. UB has actually been pretty understanding in the past about some creators not being able to make videos due to certain circumstances. And as long as you tell them, everything should be fine. It just ultimately boils down to a situation where creators just want to be in UB's good graces for as long as they can. So instead of talking to Ubisoft and saying, hey, I don't have enough footage for a good video, they'll just put out a shitty video and then Ubisoft can't really say anything about it. We're basically just all walking on eggshells. Now we've kind of wandered off the topic of the whole time frame, so we're going to take it back there for the next part. The time frame to edit and then post these videos is also pretty stressful. Generally, the servers will close on the weekend, and then we have 1 or 2 days to edit the content, because the videos will generally go up once the new season has been revealed, which is almost always on the Sunday panels. Now, for some of us, that isn't too bad. Creators like myself don't go too crazy with their editing, so a simple highlight reel can cut it. And overall, it doesn't take too long to edit. However, there's a lot of creators out there who put way more editing into their videos and will be editing like crazy for the next 2 days just to push out the video on time. Now, at some events, I've seen some creators stay up all night and the next day just to get the editing done and put it out on time. This is super unhealthy and stressful. But again, the creators are stuck in a predicament. They want to put out videos to their standards, but they're given such a short time frame to do so they have to crunch like crazy. Now, I know some of you are sitting there thinking, this seems pretty overblown, just upload it at a later date, don't stress out. The thing is if you do wait, then you'll just be releasing footage with everyone else who's releasing test server footage. And you miss that exclusivity window, which will bring us to our next section, exclusivity. We are given an incredibly small exclusivity window for our videos, which is usually less than 24 hours. What exclusivity means here is that we will be the only ones who are putting out content for the new season until the test server arrives. But because our videos generally get posted on Sunday evenings and then Monday morning the test server comes out, this means we usually have anywhere between 12 to 24 hours of exclusivity, which is not a whole lot. Meaning all of these videos that we just spent a whole week on working are now going to die within a day because all the other channels and all of the community will be able to get their hands on the new season themselves. So crunching for 6 to 7 days just to be obsolete within a day is just not worth it. But I'll be honest, this used to be 100% worth it back in the day as early access videos would blow up like crazy. remember one time Coconut ended up being like number 10 trending on YouTube for an early access video. Unfortunately, that doesn't really happen anymore. Early access videos have been doing worse and worse each season for most creators. Speaking for myself, my last few early access videos have done worse than my average content. Now, the reason why the new season content isn't doing so well is obviously because there's just not enough shit to draw people in. And this is completely fair. So then the question is raised, why would I want to stress out for 6 to 7 days just to have a video get less views than normal? It doesn't make sense. There's no logical answer for that. But while we're on the topic, let's talk about the new content. I'm sure most people watching this video can agree that new seasons have been getting stale much quicker than usual, and new season launches aren't as impactful as they used to be. Right now, we're getting less than half the content per season than we normally would. We used to get 2 operators per season plus a new map or a big map rework. Now we get 1 new operator per season, which is generally not that impactful, and we get a map rework, which for this season coming up is going to be a casual map rework. There is just so little to showcase. For every season before Steel Wave, I could easily make 2 or 3 videos for each early capture session. 1 for the defender, 1 for the attacker, and then 1 for the new map, or even just random highlights. Now for each new season, I'm lucky if I put out 1 video. So given the small exclusivity window and less content per season, from my perspective, it just makes more sense to wait for the test server to launch. I could just play unranked with my friends and record that, rather than spend a week working like crazy just for 1 video. One more thing I want to add about exclusivity while we're on the topic is the subtopic of leaks. Leaks have completely ruined our early access content because by the time we post, most of you have already seen everything. And I honestly don't blame you guys for looking at them. It just sucks that nothing is a secret anymore. For a while when we were actually at the events and recording the content, only small pieces of information would get out. Usually data mining would find some information, but not full uncut gameplay. So for the most part, what we had was actually a secret until the videos went live. But now with online captures, I already know more about the new season than the creators who took part in it. The leakers check everything that's new and post it. Meanwhile, us creators aren't even given access to the patch notes for the season we're playing. They're released to us when the public gets them, so we may miss some changes and not get to show them off. Or worse, we may notice things that we think are secret changes and hype them up, just for us to look stupid to our communities when it's put in plain sight in the patch notes. No other game or company does this. Every other company will send patch notes out before you even play, because they want their creators to know all the changes. But for Siege, we get nothing. And trust me, we have asked them for the patch notes. And yet for some reason they still don't give it to us. The only logical guess I can make as to why they don't give us the patch notes is because they think that we'll leak it to the public, which I wish I could say is ridiculous, but it might not be. And that's because with each new season, it seems more and more that some of the invited creators are the ones leaking all the changes. Obviously, I won't point fingers because technically this is a baseless claim. But there's a significant difference in the leaks that take place months before the early capture and the ones that come out the day the creators are invited to the server. For this season, recordings and leaks came out like wildfire the very day that the creators got access. And now some of you may be saying that since the servers went live, maybe the leakers got access to them or whatever, but from my personal knowledge, which may not be that great, about the behind the scenes works, it shouldn't be possible. Without the proper permissions and the proper accounts, they shouldn't be able to access the restricted servers or the updates. The data mining makes sense because they're using the normal build or the test server build and just finding new files that aren't accessible yet, but are still in the code. Meanwhile, the full gameplay experience isn't on the main server until the new update goes live. So the leakers shouldn't be able to actually play all this new content way in advance. It just doesn't make sense. So personally, it seems like one of the creators who got invited is the one posting all of these leaks. Just all the evidence points to it being someone from the inside. So overall, these leaks make the exclusivity window even more meaningless as our videos are basically obsolete before they're even recorded. A lot of people won't care about us going over all the new changes when they saw the new changes a week before our videos went out. Now there's going to be one last topic I'm going to touch on before we end the video, one that I'm sure a lot of people will have a lot of opinions on. This topic is about compensation. We do not get paid for this early capture. Siege is the only game that I have ever seen that doesn't pay their creators to do early capture. Now something like creators being paid for early access is where some opinions will differ. Obviously, we still make money from the ad revenue on these early captures. but almost every other company still pays their creators on top of that. And for the most part, I used to be fine with not being paid, because we would get flown out to events, we'd be put in nice hotels, and got to be at the events themselves and hang out with the other creators. It was awesome. But now with COVID, everything moved to an online capture session. So we lost our only form of compensation, and from my understanding, we're not going to be getting it back anytime soon, because they were already planning on putting us on online capture sessions rather than being at events. So even after everyone's vaccinated and COVID's over, we're probably not going to be at events anymore. So now all that we're left with is capturing online in a super stressful time frame and directly receiving nothing from it. And that ultimately is why I will not be participating in any more early captures. I will consider returning to them if any of these issues are remedied, but I seriously doubt anything will change just because I'm not participating. Now for full clarity, I just want to let you guys know that I actually wasn't even invited to the North Star capture session. I am unsure if it was because last season I told them I no longer want to be invited, or if they just chose not to invite me. They did tell me that they would still reach out regardless, and I wasn't reached out to. Either case, it doesn't really change anything. I wouldn't have participated anyways, but I just want to let you guys know that I was not invited. Now before we end the video, I do just want to stress that ultimately I hold no ill will towards Ubisoft or the other creators who continue to participate. This was my own personal decision, and I'm happy not to deal with the stress anymore. Now, hopefully I won't have to answer a million comments about why I'm not releasing early access videos. Thank you guys for watching, and take care.